Good morning, my viewers all over the world. This is your regular host, Valentine. Today we'll be talking about ratio. Here, our lesson aim is to understand how to solve problems involving ratio. Our lesson objective is by the end of the session, learners will be able to find solutions to ratio problems. This is our target, which I've read before in the previous sessions. I will encourage my learners to please go through this. Yeah, what the essence of this mini starter is to refresh our minds on how to solve questions on fraction. Because what I notice is most questions on ratios is linked or is interrelated with fractions, as in finding fractions of amount, finding fractions of numbers. As mentioned earlier, this is to refresh our mind. We'll kindly look at some solutions. Maybe we'll look at questions 1 to 3, and I will encourage my viewers or learners to have a go at the other one. Then they can move on to the answer slide to compare the answers. But please, if you have any issues, please reach out to me through the comment section so that I'll be able to reach out, so that I'll be able to answer any questions bothering my learners or viewers all over the world. So this is a fraction problem. There are so many ways to solve this. The beauty of math is we have different routes to a particular destination. So first and first, for me, I can solve this as this is 1 over 6. The question says find 1 over 6 of 420. So you can write it this way, 1 over 6 times. Remember, this of in maths is all about multiplication. So this means multiplication in maths. So we are told to find the 1/6 of 420. So this can be written like this. So you divide straight 6 here, 6 in 420 is 70. So 70 times 1 will give us 70. This is one way of doing this. Or let me use the other way of solving this for this question number 2. To solve this, one can easily take this and you divide by this straight. So to solve this can be 44 divided by 4, that is 11. Then you multiply whatever you get with the numerator. That's 11 times 1 give us 11. So at the end of the day, 1/4 of 44 is 11. Better still, you can still use it solve it this way. So that will be 1 over 4 times 44 over 1. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 44 divided by 4, or how many times can you get 4 in 44 is 11. 11 times 1 will give us 11. So as mentioned earlier, the beauty of all this is we have different routes to a particular destination. So let's look at this. Let's use this route, this particular method to solve this different one, to solve question 6. Because if you notice from questions 1 to 5, they have the same numerator, which is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's why I've demonstrated this here. So let's look at a different numerator, a different fraction with a different numerator. So we'll solve using these two ways. So let's use this first way. Let's use this first. So this becomes 180 divided by 4. 180 divided by 4. 180 divided by 4 is 45. Then 45 times 3. 45 times 3 will give us 145. Will give us 135. So let me clean it. 45 times 3 will give us 135. So the 3/4 of 180 is 135. So let's use this method to solve this and see. So that will be 3/4 times 180. So 3/4. So it's not a must. If you are good with numbers, you can go ahead and use the bigger number. But please, if you are not good, I will encourage you to break it down. You can start from 2. But I can see I've already solved this, so I can always go with this big number. So 4 here 1, 4 in 180 will give us 45. So 45 times 3. So 3 times 5, 15, carry 1. 3 times 4, 12 plus 1, 35. Okay, so this has been solved. Questions 1 and 2 has been solved. So I will encourage my learners to have a go at other questions. Please reach out to me if you find any challenges through the comment section, and I'll be more than glad to respond. So let's move on. These are the answers. You can see this and these and questions so they are correct. Please go ahead, solve which you can solve with any method you feel comfortable with. So then you come here to compare your answers. So let's move on. This is ratio. So as mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at ratio. But there are some key salient points you need to understand you need to understand when it comes to ratio. We say ratio is used to compare quantities or amount of something. Column, this is column is used to represent the word two. For example, the ratio of dogs to cats is 2 to 1. So what we are trying to say in essence, the summary of all this is say once you use ratio, once you reach is once you see ratio of dogs to cats, mathematically this two is changed or is represented with this sign, which is the colon. This is 2 to 1. So this is read 2 to 1. It's not 2 colon 1, no. The actual way you read this is 2 to 1. The ratio of dogs to cats is 2 to 1. One more thing that confuses my learners is they might I've heard when someone saying, when do we know to attribute each number for each of the items? When do we know to attribute which of the numbers to each of the items? So I will encourage you, once an item is mentioned first, we assume the first number goes to the first person. So in this case, dogs was mentioned first. Therefore, 2 belongs to the dogs. So 2 belongs to the dogs. While 1 was mentioned last and the cat was mentioned last. So 1 belongs to the cat. Please take note of the difference. Take note of the sign and take note that each item that was mentioned first, the first number goes to it. And once an item is mentioned second, the second number goes to it. So therefore the dogs has the 2, while the cat has the 1. Okay? And also remember that once you talk about ratio, I want you to take your minds back to parts. The key thing is once you heard ratio, so they are indirectly asking you or telling you that a particular amount or a particular situation or a particular food item, anything it can be, is measured into parts. Please take note of that. So as we move on, you come to appreciate what I've explained earlier. Yeah, this is part of the examples. For the sake of time, I will encourage my learners to please read this, digest it, and we'll be fine. So we'll skip this page. So let's look at these examples. So we'll solve maybe questions 1A, then any part of this, and I will encourage my learners to have a go at the rest. So 1A says simplify the ratio this. So 25 divided 25 to ratio 25 to 35. You can see there's a common number between them, and the word means simplify. This word simplify means break down such that you cannot break any further. So there's a common number between this, which is 5. So we divide this by 5. And remember, whatever you do on the left, you do on the right. And you divide this by 5. So 35 divided by 5 will give us 5. Then 35 divided by 5 will give us 7. So your answer becomes 5 to 7. So let's look at the other questions. We'll look at so all these question 1B, question 1C, they are all related. Even this question 1 and 2, they are all related to each other. So let's look at this question 3. Alex has the following column. There is 20. This is 20p, 20p. So write down the ratio of the value of Alex's 20p. 20p coins to the value of Alex 50p coins. So 20p coins is how many is here? 2. So this is 1, 2. So you add them both. That would be 40. 40p 2. This 50. This 15p. So if you add the three together, you'll be having 150. So to do this, write down the ratio of value of Alex to the rest. So we need to break this down. So what is common? We can try 10. So you divide this by 10 and you divide this 2 by 10. So 40 divided by 10, that will be 4. 150 divided by 10, that will be 15. So that's the answer. Let's move on. So let's compare the answers. 5 to 7 and 4 to 15. 5 to 7 correct. Question 3, 4 to 15 correct. So let's move on. Yeah, I would like you to read this while we move on. The same as this. Yeah, let's look at this question now. We're told that we'll solve this, then we'll move on. So we are told that Alex and Thomas share 30 sweets. They divide them in the ratio 3 to 2. How many sweets does Thomas have? So I would solve the two ways I feel is I will solve the two ways. So let's start with the pictorial form. So this, remember, this becomes your total ratio, total ratio is equal to 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So that means this can be likened to a log rectangle. I'm trying to use the picture form. So that means, as I mentioned earlier, ratio has to do with parts. So we need to divide this into 5 equal parts. 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next thing is they share 30 sweets. So that will be the next step you need to take is 30 divided by the parts. That's 5. It gives us 6. 6. So each of the boxes takes 6. 6. 6. 6. And 6. 6, 6, 6, 6. So we're told that Alexis has 3. So this belongs, 3 parts belongs to Alex. Then Thomas takes 2 parts of it. 2 parts of it. So the question says how many sweet does Thomas have? So you just need to add this or you times this. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So Thomas will receive 12 sweets. 12 sweets. I repeat, first step, you add your ratio, then you divide this total ratio by the amount of sweet given, which is 6. Then you can represent them in the pictorial form. So Alexis takes 3 parts, then Thomas takes 2 parts. So Thomas takes 2 parts, which will be 12. So 6 plus 6, 12, or 6 plus 6 is 12. Okay. So let's look at other way of doing this. Another way of doing this is the total ratio is 5. You can now say, and Thomas takes two parts of it. So that can be 2 divided by the total power, which is 5, times 30. This is another way of solving it. So let me demarcate the solution here. So that will be 5 year 1, 5 and 36. So 6 times 2 will give us 12 sweets. So you can see two different routes, but we've gotten to the same destination. So I will encourage my learners to have a go at this. If you have any concerns, please reach me through the comment section and I'll be more than glad to respond. So let's move on. You can see. So, so this is another aspect of ratio. I don't want to I don't want to waste much time here. So please, my learners, go through this. So let's look at the spelling of this. So we'll look at the first question, and then we'll move on. We said a recipe for vegetable soup uses 480 grams of potato for 6 people. How many grams of potato are needed for 8 people? So this is the scaling of ratio, the subtopic of scaling of ratio, or scaling with ratio. So that will be 6. I told 6 people a recipe for vegetable soup uses 480 grams of potato for 6 people. So the question says how many grams of potato are needed for 8 people. So 6 people uses 480 grams of potato. So in this situation, to solve questions like this, it's always advisable to find the value for one person. Once you get the value of one, then you can now multiply to get the actual value for 8 people. So it's always safer to get the value of one before you get the value of whatever amount you are asked to look for. So to get the value of one, you need to divide both sides by 6. So 6 divided by 6 will be 1 equal to 480 divided by 6. 480 divided by 6, that will be 80. You can see if 6 people uses 480 grams, so one person will use 80 grams. But you don't stop here because the question says how many grams of potato are needed for 8 people. So you multiply by 8, so you times by 8. So 8 people will need 600 times 8. So 80 people will need 600. 8 people, sorry, will need 614 grams of potato. So this is the correct answer. 8 people will need 630 grams of potato. So let's move on. Please, my learners, have a go with this. If you have issues, please try as much as possible to reach me through the comment section. Then I will respond to any of your questions. So let's move on. This is the answer scaling with ratio. Yeah, this is another aspect of ratio. You can see ratio has different aspects. This is another aspect. Though this boils down to more of calculation and it boils down to what I've shown before. So this is stick pair and share 60 pound in the ratio this between two friends. It is just something similar I showed earlier on using the pictorial formula. So that's why I had to prepare this so that to give you that visual view of what I explained earlier. So this is the pictorial presentation based on what I spoke earlier in the previous slide, whereby I use a pictorial form to solve a question. So because what I notice is some learners or most learners prefer using the pictorial form. So I took a step further by representing it. So first step you need to take is the question says share 16 pound in the ratio this between two friends. So the first step you need to do is add the total ratios. We'll add the total ratios which is 2 plus 3 will give us 5. Then the second step you need to divide 60 by 5. So once you divide 60 by 5 that will be 12. Then represent each of the boxes with 12. Then the first person takes two parts, which is this, will give us 24, and the second person takes three parts, which will give us 36. So this is a quick check. If that's why, as mentioned in the previous lessons, I like maths because you can always check if you are doing the right thing. So if for a quick check, you can quickly add this to get the original amount. If you don't get the original amount, there's a problem somewhere. So you need to look at your work again. So let's move on. We look at this. We'll use the pictorial form to solve this. So we're saying Chris and Molly win money in a competition. They share the money in the ratio 2 to 3. Molly receives this. How much money does Chris receive? So as usual, the total ratio will be 2 plus 3. That will be 5. And you can use your pictorial form to solve these. Divide this to 5 equal parts. 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're told that Molly receives 240. If Molly received 240, Molly receives 240. So if Molly received 240, so we'll divide it by Molly's parts of the money. So that will be divided by 3. 240 divided by 3 will give us 80 pounds. So meaning each of the Molly's part is 80 pounds. So if Molly must have received each part up to be 80, we assume that the other parts should be 82. Remember, the money has been shared into 5 equal parts, but we are told that Molly received 240. To determine the actual amount each part will contain, we'll divide 240 divided by 3, meaning 200, and for the total amount monthly received, you divide it by parts. So each of the parts is 80, 80, 80. That means monthly must have received 80 three times. So this is monthly's part, which is 3. And the question says, how much money does Chris receive? So Chris will receive this two parts. So Chris will receive 160, because 80 plus 80 will give us 160. At the end of the day, 160, Chris receives 160 at the end of the day. So meaning they must have won 240 plus 160, that will be 400. So they must have won 400 pound in the competition. So the question says, how much money did they win in the competition? How much money did they win the competition? And this is this, but we've answered this. So let me write it down. How much money did they win in the competition? That will be 240 plus 160 plus 400. So they must have won 400 in the competition. So I will encourage my learners, please have a go at the other problems. Then cross-check your answer in the answer slide. Please do this honestly, because at the end of the day, it's all about you. It's all about your progress. So this is the answer. Please, as mentioned earlier, have a go, come to this place and compare your answers. Do that honestly. Please, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, reach me at the comment section. Thank you very much. This is your regular host, Valentine. Thank you. Thank you.